If you ended up on this video, that means you're considering getting one of these guys and you're not 100% sure if they're actually worth your money, or is it just one of those items you're gonna buy and it's gonna stay in a cupboard forever because it's too much of a pain to use in everyday life. So in this video we'll discuss all the pros and cons of the Ember 2 mug, but also as a disclaimer, I've got this with my own money. It was an impulse purchase and I did had some buyer's remorse for the first few days, and there are definitely some things that I wish were improved on this thing, and this is not an item that you actually need, but it's a want, and I'm 100% sure you've looked through the Reddit, you looked through the other YouTube videos, so you know exactly what you're looking at. But I hope this, my personal perspective, is gonna help you to make an informed decision whether to spend your hard-earned bucks on a mug. Because let's be honest, this is just to keep your beverage inside so you can drink it and then pee it out, and it's over $130, so let's get into it. I've been in exactly same position as you're in right now, which is deep diving into a very ridiculous, at least on the surface of it, purchase. So what I can tell you straight from the get-go, because that was my main concern, is that this is going to be super fragile. And I've seen a number of comments, especially on the white version of this mug, that it peels off inside. I mean, this doesn't really look like it was massively used and overused. And if you know anything about me, you know that I'm drinking coffee at least 5 times a day. And I appreciate all the comments that it's unhealthy. I don't care. It prevents me from burning the world down. So with that amount of usage, this gets like 5 to 6 coffees a day in it for about 6 months now. And it's still looking fairly new-ish. Apart from tiny little scratches, I'll do a zoom in. Yeah, there we go. B-rolling here. Look at that beautiful B-roll, man. Yeah, so that little scratch here, that's a result of me dropping this mug a couple of dozen times. Not kidding, I am horribly uncoordinated. Despite all the sports I do, I keep dropping stuff. You know, my parents were never allowing me to carry a tea through our living room because there was a 100% chance it will spill on my parents' very cherished carpets. So that's kind of the same rule in our current household. My wife doesn't trust me carrying stuff that's like filled to the brim. Now, having said that, it did fall number of times, and it's still going strong. No problems with charging. It didn't chip away, although yesterday when that little scar here happened, it came off really hard on my hard floor in the kitchen, and I'm not going to demonstrate, because 100% if I'm going to drop it just for the sake of making cool video, this will shatter. Like, you know, the Murphy's Law, if it can happen, it will. So in terms of durability, massive plus. Now, there were some complaints about the charging. So basically, when you charge this guy, come on, focus. When you charge this guy, you put it on a charging port, and these little rings here often get a little bit dirty. And this was one of the complaints I've seen online, that it doesn't charge because there's a muck on it. So there's an easy solution to this. You can clean it. Speaking of cleaning, that's another critique I've seen online, is the fact that you can't put it in the dishwasher. And I appreciate if you would have 20 of these. So typically, before I had the Ember, because that became my only mug and it's Dad's mug, no one's touching my mugs, I had a collection of mugs across my office, across the house, with half-drunk coffees because they were cold, and also I'm sorry to say that, but I am a messy person. Typically, this office doesn't look anywhere nearly as clean. I do clean up before I start recording these. So this had a very, very unexpected effect of me having one mug that I keep cleaning. And now, with the dishwasher issue and cleaning the mug, I'll show you a trick. Come with me. Just a shock warning, this is not for a faint-hearted. Let's start with the basics. This is the sink, this is the tap, this is our dirty mug. Grab a wee sponge, this is a washing up liquid. Give it a squirt, open the tap, gently clean it, and then rinse it. Try not to break it when you're shaking it off. At this stage you can just leave it to dry, but if you want to use it straight away, or you want to put it on a charger, make sure this is not wet, because electricity and shit. Take one of these guys and look. Bloody magic, right? You can also dry it inside, man. Like, the sky's the limit. The world's your oyster. Look. Clean, dry, ready to make another cuppa. And I'm not into that yoga kind of a meditation way of making coffee, because I would waste whole day trying to brew a cup. So, boom, power.
Learn with Jake.
I know this has been a little bit unorthodox, but I really hope that this helped to solve that cleaning issue. The main function of this mug, as you know, is to keep your beverage nice and warm. From my experience, the battery life on this isn't great, but it's also not horrific. You get about maybe an hour and a half to maybe 2 hours if the temperature setting isn't too high. However, if you set it onto the coaster, you can keep it hot indefinitely. Well, hot. This is the cool thing. You can adjust the temperature to your liking. Now, there is no good or wrong answer on that. Obviously, if you keep your milky coffee too hot, it's gonna go all wonky. But in the same time, you really don't want your black coffee to be lukewarm. You can adjust this within the app, and that might be a little bit of criticism there, because you do have to log in into your mug. So, not the words I thought I'll ever say, but that's the only way to adjust the temperature on the Ember. But the good thing is it will send you a notification whenever your drink has cooled down to the temperature you want it. Now, my wife can eat stuff out of the oven, drink coffee straight from the coffee maker. I'm not built that way, man. I need my coffees to cool off, same with food. So having that notification that this is ready to drink without burning my tongue is absolute winner. What I would love to see on maybe 3rd edition, because this is several years old now, is maybe a temperature control on the mug itself, or maybe on the coaster where you can do this without logging into the app, because more often than not you just can't be arsed. Whenever there's an actual another step to take, most people just don't bother, and I can't even remember what temperature I had it set to until I made this video. Reading through Reddit, I've noticed there's quite a few people who have problems with their charging coaster thing. Now, the main issue everyone's complaining about are those little pins here that tend to get stuck inside and not really connecting with the mug itself. That's outside cleaning the bottom of the mug. Now, I haven't experienced this myself, so I can't really comment on that. To be fair, I do clean this quite often. I do treat this as a piece of equipment that needs being maintained, and yes, it might be a bit of a extra work at the end of the day, but come on, man, like having a tiny little wipe somewhere around your desk, or a tissue, because I know everybody keeps tissues by their desk, isn't really that much of an effort. So I'm not saying that people are mistreating this. I'm just saying that after 6 months of very intensive use, I haven't experienced those issues. Doesn't mean they won't happen down the road. So 100%, if this is gonna lead to any bigger drama in a year or 2 years, I'll make a follow-up video. But so far, 6 months, you know, six cups of coffee a day, this is going super strong. One of the points worth mentioning here is that little LED here that basically tells you if your beverage if your beverage is ready, and also you can customize the color of it, so when you're picking up the mug, you know whose mug it is. Now, with my wife drinking 1 coffee a day, I'm sorry to say that wasn't worth the investment. But obviously, if you got more people in the house who are nuts enough to spend so much money on the coffee mug, it's a useful feature to have. When it's good to go, it turns white. Now, I don't know what turns white. I think it should be just pulsing. Should be pulsing in the color that you've chosen. So, man, that kind of sucks. Also, if you got a white mug, I'm guessing white on white is gonna be pretty invisible. So, just as a precaution, I think black is the way to go. Or any of those shiny metallic ones. I think I would go with the brass looks the best. The white one seems to be the one having the most issues. The ceramic coating coming off. Again, not a problem here. So yeah, so this is your indicator. There's nothing really complicated here. You'll get a notification on the app if you've got it paired up. So that's the other thing. That app doesn't stay paired with your Bluetooth all the time. It's not ideal, but I'm kind of guessing it's the same situation with anything else. If you would keep Bluetooth on all the time, the more apps you've got connected to your phone, the faster they discharge the battery, yada yada yada. However, I would love for this to be just kind of intuitive. So you set it on your little coaster, you keep it on your table, and it pushes that notification to you. Well, nothing's perfect, but I think that is a slight omission here. If you want me to answer your question where you should get one of these, it's not gonna happen. This is one of those decisions you need to pull the trigger on yourself. what I'm gonna say is that this is a good mug. Like, it does the job really well, and it became essential part of my office setup. I wouldn't travel with it anyway, because without the coaster, hour and a half is just not enough. I need to charge it up all the time, but it lives on my coaster all the time when I'm working at my desk, and it's definitely long enough charge for me to come downstairs, watch a movie or watch the news, and keep my coffee nice and hot. I really hope this helps, and if anything changes, as I mentioned, I'll make a follow-up video. Have an awesome day.